All right. So I've come across a few videos recently from barbers, but I think I can speak to today, let's say new barbers and entrepreneurs in general, right? Be very careful of who you accept your information from, who you gain your knowledge from, and who you trust the information coming from. Because a lot of people, and I think this goes across any industry, right, will speak on something or pretend to be an instructor in something and have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. A video recently, and I felt like it was like rage bait for real. So I came across a video where an OG barber, as he calls himself, is planning to create, from what I understand from what he wrote in the video on his caption, is the plan to start an educational program of some sort, right? So, and he has a pretty solid following. However, I I would give him the benefit of the doubt if the statement he made was only said once. However, he repeated the same statement throughout the video multiple times. And the statement was, he's doing a skin fade. The fade is already completely done. That annoys the shit out of me when barbers create videos where the fade is completely done and they act like they're still doing the fade. But I digress. He is doing the fade, or pretending to do the fade, and continuing to go through it, and sprays an astringent on the client's head and says some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard a barber say. Some of, not, probably not, well, it's up there. And says, I'll paraphrase, I can't remember it verbatim, but he damn near said, I use an astringent to moisturize the fading area. It's a fucking oxymoron right there. That right there makes no sense whatsoever. An astringent is essentially used to dry out the skin as well as close the pores. Moisturization doesn't really close pores, nor does it dry out skin, right? It's literally what an astringent is for. So, for you to say that's your intent to moisturize the area, I don't know if his intent was to mean wet the area. I don't know if he's illiterate or not and doesn't know what words mean, but and then he went on to say something about manipulating the client's five senses is the reason he uses an astringent to spray on the hair, which also, what are you even talking about at that point? Because the spray has, what does it have to do with the five senses? And it looks like he was in an all white room. Like, this just made no sense to me. And this is someone who is intending to teach the future of the industry. Again, I love what I do. I love this industry. I love everything about it. I would love to be that educating party to the future of the industry. I'm extremely turned off to it for the simple fact that it's extremely saturated as far as the market goes. There's too many barbers out there just putting out either terrible information or just low quality content creators. There's a lot of things that barbers do that make absolutely no sense, and they do it just for content. And I see younger barbers repeating a lot of the like useless techniques that just waste time, and they're just pointless. One of my biggest another one that annoyed me a long time ago was a barber using his outliner to, from what he said, if I remember correctly, when I commented on his post, he said something about he uses it to, what did he say? Something to where he's thinning out each hair follicle or just debulking the follicles or something. It was something crazy, and it just made no sense because he was using the actual side of the blade against the client's head, which is just illogical. That's not even the cutting surface of the blades. How clippers work, one blade moves and the fixed blade stays still, and the hair is cut with this moving blade, right? Nothing on this side of this moving surface is intended to cut hair, because the hair is being cut by transferring through these blades, this blade that is moving and this blade that is still. The hair has to pass through this point to be cut. Nothing is going on the side of here to be cut while these blades are moving side by side to cut this hair. So as to why you would choose, as again, someone with a large following, to post content like that, knowing that a younger barber could potentially see this and think that you're doing something, why the fuck would you do that? And then the same, I want to say it happened in the same video. They'll take shears where the haircut is essentially already done, completely done haircut. They will take shears, point the shears to the fade at the haircut, and pretend to cut hair on the fade, essentially just like this, at almost this exact angle. They'll try to cut. At that point, what you're trying to do is quite literally take these shears and split a hair follicle down the middle. For what purpose? And more likely than not, your shears are not splitting this hair follicle in half. So, and then the fade is already completely done, and you're pretending to go back through it and I don't even thin it out. It doesn't make any sense. I've tried it. I've showed barbers in person that believe that it was a real thing, and it's literally not a real thing. It's not real. And it annoys the shit out of me every time I see it. So much. So much. I absolutely hate it. I hate a lot of content that a lot of barbers put out. I literally do not even click on barber videos, which is more, it's almost the reason I don't like to create barber videos, because I don't like to view them. I really don't, which is fucking retarded, because it's what I do for a living. And so when I create content, I don't try to create content that other barbers will like. I try to create content that a potential client will see and understand that I produce quality haircuts, and I care about my establishment, and I care about what I do for a living. I care about the industry. I actually know what I'm doing, and I care about what I'm doing. I could give a single fuck if any barber ever likes any of my content at all, because I don't make content for barbers. I make content for potential clients, and that's it. And a lot of barbers have that fucked up in the industry to where their focus is being liked by other barbers. I have a multitude of reasons to be liked by other barbers. Like, I have a fucking hair product line. Could I put it in more barbershops and sell more product to more clients and do all of that? Absolutely. I plan on starting a fucking barber school. That's, when it's done, I will need other barbers to know that it exists, and they'll come to it naturally. So I'm not really worried about that. But that goes to say, like, in a sense, I would benefit more than the average barber from creating barber friendly content or content that barbers themselves would like. But I only want to interact with real barbers, quality barbers, barbers who actually love what they do and actually love the industry as a whole. And they want to put out actual educational content to the up and coming barbers, or the barbers that just don't have the information or access to the information and just haven't had good mentors and don't have anybody really, knowledgeable around them to teach them those kind of things. So that's my main focus and my main care, and that's why a lot of this shit annoys the absolute fuck out of me, bro. And there's a lot of it. I feel like I don't want to say it's majority of the industry, but in this point, because of every barber wanting to be social media famous and every barber wanting to just put out just any kind of content there is, and every barber thinking that they're an educator because they think, oh, if I get a bunch of people to pay for my course, then I'll be rich. And like, take this shit serious. Actually learn what you're doing, apply what you're learning, and just grow the next person. But stupid people can't teach people. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, stop trying to teach people. Go take as many classes as you can. Go find some really good barbers that are actually educated and educate yourself. Take the time to learn before you teach anybody anything. Because there's a multitude of barbers that I've run into barbers that have been in this industry for 20 plus years that didn't even count their money. They don't even have an actual spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, document of any sort that tracks their income. That is a huge part of what the fuck we do. You do this for a living. You do this to make money, to provide for yourself and maybe someone else. Why do you not know what you make for a living? And I can guarantee you that there's barbers out there that will pretend to be educators but can't teach you something that simple math, or at least that you should be doing it, and a simple way of how to do it. How are you an educator when you yourself are not educated? So if you are putting out just either illiterate content because you're using the wrong words in the wrong places to describe what it is you're doing, or just an impractical educator where you're teaching techniques that are nowhere near logical nor practical. So what the fuck are you? You're literally just a content creator, but you're not an educator. So a lot of barbers need to stop pretending to do these things and be these things that they're genuinely not. They really aren't. So, yeah, just stop being fucking stupid.